Well, hello and welcome back to the channel again. And thank you again for the subscribers. We've got 395. We're almost to 500. We're reaching our goals. We still have a ways to go. We've got some other requirements to do before we can start selling merchandise and stuff like that, like YouTube wants us to, but we're getting there. So I build buildings, and I build flat, and we talked about that, and that flat building video just took off like crazy and people really liked it. But it's not always about flat printing. It's also about the other parts of the railroad too, like the lighting. And I do a lot of lighting for my ready builds, and I don't necessarily go out and buy store-bought lights. And I wanted to show you what I use that maybe you can use too. All you got to do is pick up one of these from Harbor Freight. It's a fairy light thing, and I'm going to show you how I take these little lights that don't have any significance as far as, knowing which is positive or negative. Remember I told you about that tester I made last time in one of the videos, if you watched it? Well, I went ahead and thought to myself, why don't I just go ahead and make a tester? One that would be universal, because I also do wind turbines too, and I got to know if they're working or if the polarity is right or whatever have you, positive and negative. So I came up with this, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to use this with a coin battery operated thing in there. And it's got a little button on it, and it lights up when it's on, and it turns off when it's off. It's a very simple device, but a very handy device, and you're going to see why. So I'm going to show you in a demonstration video after this little introduction here, me putting it on with the GoPro on the table on here. I'm going to use the post office as an example and just show you how I do the lighting with the fairy lights. And I'm also going to take another sample and show you how I use this little outfit here to power on the motors to see if I wired them up right, because you can't take a motor that's 6 volts and add 12 volts to it without adding a buck converter into it. That's the secret to the turbines. You got to step the motor voltage down. But I'm going to show you also that. So this is going to be more like a showing you video and not necessarily a talking about other projects, things type video. But I wanted you to understand how to maybe possibly do your lights. You don't have to do fiber optic. You don't have to go out and buy the most expensive ones with already pre-wired. You can do it yourself. And I think with these things I'm going to show you in this next step, you're going to really like it. So thank you, and sit back and enjoy the video. So like I was telling you before, this is going to be, these are the things I'm going to show you. This is a micro torch from Harbor Freight. I picked it up, and it uses butane inside there. I use that. This is a pair of nippers, just regular wire cutters. These are the Harbor Freight lights. This is the tester I was telling you about. You're going to need a 470 ohm resistor. Now, on my resistors, I always use 470 ohms. I've never found a need for not. And I've done theaters for trains like the Polar Express, and I've done O gauge and HO, and I have never come a problem. And I've run 24 bank of lights sometimes on 5 millimeter and 6 volts. I've never had an issue with not using 470 ohms, and it works really good. So I want to suggest that to you. That's really only the resistor that you should probably need in this model railroading setup. So, and then you'll need your sandpaper. So basically what I do, and I'll show you here, is I print these little lights out. And I do it all myself. I'll show you here. And basically there is a piece of plastic that I get from Hobby Lobby. And then I made the bases, and then I print them out, and then I do the tops, and then I use clear PLA to make the tops, and they snap in place. Now I designed all of these in Inventor, and when I get done, I have something like this. And they look really, really sharp on something like this. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me pull that up. This is a building we haven't even kitted yet, but a guy bought lots of these. He's going to buy 2 of them actually. And then I put that inside, and then I light them in from the inside. So, but today I want to show you how I take and get that little light, that little SMD inside there, and I'll show you how it lights up. So now this one, I do believe I marked it, so this should be the red side. So I take my tester, because I've already tested it out, put it on the black, and get it up there so you can see it. And there you go. And let's see. I don't have good contact there. Okay, there you go. And so now you see it's lit up. And that's a nice little light. Now I'm going to show you how we make that. And then you can make your own the same way. Okay, so let's set that down. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your Harbor Freight light, and you're going to take these two leads, okay, and you're just going to cut it like this, okay? And then you're going to take your fingers, and then just spread those lines out there. Now, the cool thing about an SMD, if you can see that, maybe get a piece of white here. Okay, the thing about an SMD is there's a little bitty line inside there. It's like a little diode, I guess. You can cut all the plastic up to that line and not lose the light. Now watch, I'll show you. I'm gonna do it very carefully. Right there. And now you see how tiny I got that? That's very, very tiny. And that will fit in one of these lights. I'll show you. So we take that, oops, drop it, shove that in there like this. Gotta look at the camera at the same time doing it. See how it fits down way in there? And then I take my little cap, snap it on, and bingo. And that's a nice little light. Now, it may not be perfectly to scale because we're talking, you know, a 4mm line, maybe 0.5 on this. And, well, 0.4 millimeter with the printer. But, you know, but it looks nice, too, when it's all done. And I'll show you pictures at the end of the video with this building all lit up. So, okay, now we've got our light, but we don't know what's negative or positive. And there's enamel on this. That's the thing you need to know. This is not normal wire. I think they call it, starts with a K. I can't remember anymore what the name of it is. But it's a type of wire that's got an enamel coating on. So this is where this torch comes in. Take the torch, and then you just heat it up like that. Okay, see how I just did that? Okay. And I take my little sandpaper. I usually use about 50 or 60 grit. And you just very carefully do this. And just take that little enamel coating off. And that's it. Okay, so now once you get that make contact and get that enamel coating off, and I go, you know, side to side to make sure I get it really good. Okay, try and keep this in the center of the camera for you. Okay, now I'll grab a red marker, which is right. Where's my red marker? I'll grab a red marker. I'm gonna mark red, which is hot. So I'm gonna turn my little tester on. Okay, and I'm gonna just put the leads on and see which way it goes. It might light up, and it might not. Now I know that this is the opposite, so I'm going to put this one on this side. Now make contact. Oops. And one on this side. And see, there it is. And now I used a yellow one in that little light. This is not yellow. This is what they call warm white. This one is yellow. I like the yellow because it looks like a real lamp. But that's it. So then once you figure out what's, you know, red, then you take your little marker here and you just mark the one side so you know that that's red, just like that. And that's it, guys. That's as simple as it is. Now you can solder that in series. You can solder that together, and make sure you turn your little light off, and you can use it in your building, and you can have an endless supply. I mean, I don't know what, there's maybe 30 on this thing, and it only costs $7. And if you go to Walmart after Christmas, you can buy 100 of those little fairy lights, and they just work so well, and they're so tiny. I've even used them like this in my Northwest Depot to be like cargo lights. And they give the appearance of it. I mean, we're talking N scale, guys. We don't deal with anything that in that kind of detail. I mean, if you really want to get that crazy with detail, where you have the stem on the light and everything else, then I guess go out and buy it if you got the money for it. But I don't believe in that, because you know what? Anything from 2 feet away, I'm not even going to see the detail in it. So anyway, that's my argument for that. And then, like I said, I print these out, and I do not sell these on Etsy. I make them for myself, and I make them for my ready builds. But if you want to see them on Etsy, then just say so in the comments. Okay, that's that part of the video. Now I'm going to pause it and then show you how I use the same thing for the wind turbine. All right, now here's the wind turbines that I make, and I need to know if they're going to work once I get to this point. So these have little 6-volt motors in them, and they will turn, but I can't put, unless I put a resistor in there, or have the buck converter on there. If I put a 12-volt power supply on here, I'll burn it out. So that's why I use those regulators and power converters in the base, so I don't burn that motor out. But this is only 6 volts, okay? So again, so I can see if the motor and everything's working before I ship it to the customer or put it on display for sale, let's say. Okay, this so you can see that. And now let me get the turbine in here so it doesn't hit the other one. Just turn this on. I know that's going to hit. And there you go. You see, this little tester now tells me that I have everything wired up right. Now, I can't adjust the voltage on it, because if I adjusted the voltage, it would get faster, of course. But it tells me the light's working. See? And that's another way I use my tester. And the reason I made the tester was so that I don't run into the problem. I've had problems where I've wired this all up, wired it backwards, or forgot a wire, or had a short in it, and then I got to figure out how to fix it. And I used to be able to take the motors right here, and I had a little screw in there, and I would go ahead and make this separate. But now I'm gluing them together, because I find that it's a lot more efficient to glue them together, and I'm getting more confident in my wiring, let's put it that way. Let's do the same thing with the little one here. Okay, same thing. So, and I don't always have to use black and red. Sometimes I just use different colors because I know what they are. Okay, here we go. Make sure it's lined up so you guys can see it. And oops, I thought that would happen. There we go. See? That's what's nice about this little tester. It's small, it fits in your pocket, and I bet you can find a lot of uses for it. I made it so that the coin battery comes out of the top and just slips inside. It's actually a 2032 battery, and I believe that we're going to sell these on the store. And I have not seen these on the internet, and I've not seen them in a do-it-yourself video yet, not even on Etsy. So maybe we have something here, maybe we don't, but I personally love this thing. And it saves me a lot of hassle of trying to figure out and guess what my polarity is. So that's kind of what this part of the video is, to show you how you can universally use this. And if you find other uses for it and you bought one, tell me in the comments so I can, so other people can understand and understand how universal this thing is, and maybe you found some other kind of use for it. All right, let's get on to the rest of the video and get into the end. You may have seen this before, but I'm going to go ahead and show you this anyway, because this does have a lot to do with the light tester and the results of what happens when you do your lights using those fairy lights. So I want to show you this post office. Well, that was really neat. Thank you for spending time with me and learning how to do that. I really appreciate you. I hope I taught you something. I hope you learned something, or maybe you can teach me. But maybe we can have a conversation about it. Maybe this is a new way you never even think about, or maybe you're already doing it. Let me know in the comments. So let me know what's going on. Like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for coming to this channel, and I'll see you soon again. Have a blessed day, and thank you.